I am live. Am I live? I am live. Yes. Okay. So, can everybody hear me? Can people hear me? I'm going to go look at the stream on my phone to check everything. Yeah, okay. So, read title. That is just what we're going to do. It's not anything hard. Okay, it works. And my audio is pretty good. I have no clue about my video quality. I can check that as well. Sorry for this crap. Okay. Not anything hard. Okay, it works. And my audio is pretty good. My video quality, however, is a bit challenged. I am so sorry for that, but my webcam is up monitoring my printer. So I might be able to do something better a bit later, but at this point, this is what we're going to do. So I need to do a fuck ton of heat set inserts as the first thing today. I have no clue what the clock is in other parts of the world. But here it is 10:30. So just go ahead and put all my shit away. Okay, great. I need to do a bunch of these cubes. That is my genius idea to how I'm going to fit everything together. I have a bit better lighting. I don't know. Not do it. I have a shit ton of lights. I don't know if this. Okay, everything looks way too dark. Yeah, that's not great. Okay, this is just how it is for now. I might be able to check on it later because I need to eat some food, so I'll probably end the stream in about an hour. Okay. I need 16 of these three-way thingies here with threaded inserts on 3. Yes. And I need 8 of them with 2. Like these bad boys. So first thing we're going to do is obviously heat up the iron. I was a genius yesterday, and yesterday night. Fuck, I put it back. Okay, 1 minute. Tonight, I built this jig just so it would be a bit easy to put the threaded inserts in straight. And I mean, it built out of wood and a threaded rod and one linear bearing and a printed part for my home-built 3D printer that I didn't use. And it actually works beautifully, but I just thought that it would be harder to do with this jig than just doing it by hand. So we're doing it by hand. I also made it like 3 o'clock today, so also probably not very well made. So I do only need 24. So I have 5. So meaning that I need 19. So this is essentially waste until I ruin these. So I'll just, okay, this is not great print quality. The thing is, my printer is giving me constant issues. So it is working. The cubes are working and they do look pretty good, but some of them do have quite a bit of elephant's foot since my 3D printer bed is gone. I mean, the plate that the molten plastic is laid onto, that is really bad. It's like I'm using an Ender 3v2, heavily modded Ender 3v2, and it's just the standard cover random. But the thing is, when I got this printer 2 years ago, I didn't know that you weren't supposed to clean it with isopropyl alcohol, so I cleaned it with isopropyl alcohol and it's ruined. So that is simply the reason why it doesn't really work. So it was a bit better, and then I poured acetol all over it by mistake. I was printing ABS and it really wouldn't stick, so I made some ABS slurry, put it on the bed, with some acetone, and the cover and then just dissolved away. I guess it still looks fine, but it doesn't stick to anything. So glue stick, and yeah, it's a whole mess. So I have no clue if I have enough threaded inserts. However, I'm a bit scared I'm going to use all of them, since these are incredibly expensive to get shipped to Denmark, where I am. This is not sponsored, of course. I have literally zero on YouTube. So yeah, I have 0 subscribers and everything. It's CNC Kitchen's threaded inserts. It's his short ones, since it is a bit more suiting for my application. And I'm using an iFixit thing. To hold everything steady. So the thing is, this soldering tip, this iron is just like a really old Vella one. I think it's from 1960s maybe, but it works great. So got it from my granddad. So this is just, it's just threaded inserts. It's not rocket science. However, I do need to keep everything sorted, because if I don't, this is going to be really difficult. So I need 8 of the 2 things threaded inserts. I'm just going to make those first. This soldering tip, however, I totally just took an old tip and I ground it down. Instead of spending $30 on those dedicated tips, I don't even know if they make them for Weller irons, but those tips are literally horrible. Not like they're horrible. They probably work fine. I haven't tried them, but they're really expensive for what they are. So I have this old tip. It's probably more expensive than the ones, but I am in that lucky situation that I've been soldering for many years. So I already had a bunch of tips. So it would be stupid for me to not use the shit I have lying around. These inserts are really easy to put in. I'm quite actually surprised by that. I've done it before, but not that much, so I'm still pretty inexperienced. Yeah, that's 4. Now I need 3 more of the 2 ways. I should probably tell you a bit about what I'm actually making on these streams. Maybe more streams. Oh, that looks pretty straight. It can be 0.5 millimeter off in either direction. Yeah, okay. I am a part of a huge ass competition in my country, a countrywide competition. I live in a small country, so it's not that huge. It's translated to English. It's called Young Scientists, meaning that you're doing some science and you can win a fuck ton of money. And for a young, a poor student like myself, winning $4,000, that would be pretty appreciated. So yeah. I know $4,000 isn't that much, but I think that the $4,000 is after taxes. So even though the taxes in this country are absolutely huge. I think the tax I pay is, I suppose it's 37%, and that's the minimum, the lowest amount of tax you could possibly. No, I don't make enough money to pay taxes. Okay, in this country, you can pay up to 60% of your income in taxes, which is absolutely ludicrous. But for anyone who does not make, that's a good thing at least. If you don't make that much money, you don't have to pay tax of any of it. So I I think it's 5 or 6 grand a year, which is not much, but for like a poor student, I don't make 5 to 6 grand a year, so I just have to be careful not making that much more than if I win the entire competition. So I got distracted as fuck telling you what I'm doing. I am doing a an ozone machine. So I'm making some ozone directly on the surface of people's hands, and I'm then like that's disinfecting. It's oxidizing the cells, the cell walls of the bacteria, and killing the bacteria. So that's what I'm doing. I already made one revision, and that got me into the finals. But this revision is not like I used literally just a Tesla coil in a box for the last revision, and that worked beautifully. So I'm not going to do the same thing actually. I am using a CVS driver. I'm not going to. Okay, ask in chat if you. Please ask in chat if there is anything you actually want to know about this whole shebang. So CVS driver, flyback transformer, and a voltage multiplier. That's how generating the high voltage needed for the process. It's a solely simple thing, and then I'm just putting some leads close to each other without them touching, like without them arcing over. And that's generating the corona, and corona is just ionizing the air. And ionized air, when you put energy into air, you split O2 apart into two O's, of course, and that just binds onto other O2 molecules since oxygen is so fucking reactive. So it just binds onto other oxygen molecules, and then that forms O3, aka ozone. The only problem is I don't have access to metal. Even if I did, I won't be able to afford like stainless steel, which would be like okay. Building it out of acrylic is not a great idea since acrylic is very flammable when you put it near pure oxygen, and ozone is just oxygen with more oxygen on it. So it's even more of a stupid idea. But I don't have access to something that can cut sheet metal. And even if I did, it wouldn't help much because if I used iron, which is the cheap sheet metal, it would rust into oblivion. There wouldn't be any iron left behind. It would just all die. So wait, what the fuck? Well, I'm removing that heat sensor. I should probably think more and talk less. Okay, I don't know if this will work. Maybe. Well, that's heating up. I can drink me some coffee. I love coffee. Ah, all right, and it's still not coming out. Come fucking on. Heat. Okay, while that's going on, I can actually calculate how many I'm going to use. I'm going to use 16 of these with 3 on them. So 16 times 3, that is 30 plus 16, that's 12 minus 13, that's 18. And that's 48. I'm going to use 48 inserts for the top, and I'm going to use, that's 16. So overall, I'm going to use 60 something inserts. So I got plenty. I got 100. Oh, it's smushed. It's above the glass transition temperature. Glass transition temperature. Why the fuck won't this just... Ah, my fucking god. And now my PC's gonna die. I have a charger for it here. I'm not gonna go find the charger. We don't have one right here. I do conveniently have a charger in my shop. So this does not seem like it want to work. Okay, so that plucked it out, and that was surprisingly hard to remove. I am impressed. CNC Kitchen, I am impressed. So that's a two-way, 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 and that is a two-way. So I do have all my 8 two-ways now. And I have 5 three-ways to make 16. So kill me, please. So yeah, my machine it's gonna be pretty simple. I'm just using some Arduino code to control everything. I am very terrible at programming Arduino, apparently. So that went not smoothly. Programming Arduino. But I think I have it covered. It was much harder with the Tesla coil project than this one. This is just like simple, straight programming. And by straight, I'm not talking anything weird. I'm talking about the way of programming, because you could do everything using formulas, and after 3 seconds of all that crap, That's the hard way. That's the what I like to call the curly way of doing it, since it's not intuitive. The straight way is just saying, "Hey, turn on," wait 3 seconds, "Hey, turn off again." That's literally the one I'm using, and I'm using the ATX power supply, so I can use the standby 5-volt pin to power the Arduino. So the Arduino is always on, and it's only when the the Arduino, it's not like the Arduino is going to use a ton of power. That's literally an IoT device, meaning that it used almost no power at all, a couple milliwatts. So that's fine. I actually think the supply is going to waste way more than the Arduino is, so that's pretty cool. Also, because that these ATX supplies, my whole like family was like, "Hey, it's going to be on when you're not using it. That's totally wasteful." And I'm like, "Yes, but you guys have 3 computers with ATX power supplies in it that are literally on right now. You're never turning them off. So I can't see what I'm doing is different." And I won that discussion, so that was cool. But also, yeah. Yeah, I'm using a shit ton of RGB LEDs. Like, not the fancy NeoPixel shit. That's way too expensive. Just I had an old like LED, an LED strip that I just cut up into these small pieces. I'm just gonna hot glue everywhere there can be an LED strip, since I want this to be an eye catcher. It is it's literally a science fair project, and but the thing is, it's a huge science fair. So I can't remember exactly how many people are going to see it, but it's several thousand people, which is probably not a lot in the like US standards. But this is quite many. Also, it's quite difficult to get these like flush, but not way too much below the surface. This actually, I haven't had any huge setbacks during this project, so I'm kind of suspicious that something's going to go horribly wrong and I'm going to get a giant setback. I've only had some like CAD and things that didn't quite work as they should, and yeah. Also, that I'm not used to doing laser cutting stuff, so when I was to do the exporting as DXF from Fusion, the export from DXF software I'm using is just, it did not want to work. So that sucked. Also, I think my 3D printer is done. If I have to, if I had to guess. So, one moment, please. I'm gonna go check on the printer. Okay. No, the printer was not totally done, but it's done in 2 minutes. So I'll just clean up my room a little bit, and then I clean up the workshop. I can Wait, I'm so sorry for using a laptop. It's really not the most professional setup, but I'm not the most professional guy, so fuck you. Please notice how clean my workshop is. No, actually, I spent so many hours yesterday cleaning everything up. So, yes. I'll just remove all these modules. For the new project, I am using a ton of modules. I don't like using modules. I just think it's a bit too lazy. But for the electronics to do this, okay, for this is the first revision. That took me 8 months of straight planning, programming, designing, CADing, doing the PCB design, everything. It took me 8 months. And then when I got into the finals are in 1 month from now. So it was 1.5 months from when I started, and I had to do everything in about 2 weeks, since on Monday there's going to be quite a huge convention for us watching the finals. So I would really like this to be done on Monday, but I'm a bit skeptical since there's a bunch of parts. I can show you some of the parts. So we have a module that is an IR distance sensor. That is so that if you look at the thumbnail, when I put my hand in the box, it senses my hand. So that is 2 brackets, some really quick brackets to hold my ATX supply. Bit of a not funny story about this bracket. I got a huge clock on my printer since the fan decided to not work anymore. So I got a huge layer skip because everything jammed up at the same time for some reason, and the fan died and a huge clock. So I had to throw out my expensive BQH2 extruder and just substitute in a almost as expensive what is it called? A fetus dragonfly. So I am very happy with the dragonfly. The problem is that there is no good ducts for it. I threw out the original fan duct. So that was not a good noise. I don't have a good fan duct for it, and I am very sorry about that, since it's fan ducts are very important, and I don't have any good ones. So you can suggest one. I did ask in a forum, and the one they suggested was it works beautifully, but I can't use the CR touch mount, and I really like to use the original one, since I have had very bad experiences with the plastic mounts, the printed mounts. But more importantly, it's extremely flimsy, and it's breaking constantly, and I am very scared of anything to happen. Not nozzle crash, something like that, because I'm not planning to do those, and also if I do that, that's kind of my own fault. But I think it's a fault of the design that I can't even use it as it is intended, because everything flexes if I look at it too hard. I suppose I got some cracks. I accidentally cracked it, which is weird, along layer lines, which is weird since it's meant to be printed in PLA or PETG. And I'm using ABS, which has a much better layer height than those 2 plastics. So yeah, that's weird. Well, I'm gonna go check out the printer, and then I'm gonna bring down a whole bunch of acrylic bits. So the print is done. It is simply a replacement for one of these on this thing, because that is way too wobbly. Because there's like kind of an edge on the inside, and I didn't know that when I measured it. So I'm going to replace it with this. That fits in much more tightly. Also, it looks much better because this print has some huge, disgusting artifacts. Also because of the H2 extruder. Also using gyroid infill, which is not the right choice for this. I should actually be using rectilinear, but for the new one I'm using cubic. Which people are saying cubic and gyroid are the same thing and all that sort of shit, but no, it's not. And gyroid is great for many prints, but it is great for compression loads. I've tried a bunch gyroid in like twisting motion, and that just cracks immediately, and that does not work as great. So no gyroid for this part. I don't know why I chose gyroid before. I think I did it by mistake. Also, the new print has like 60% infill since I was printing this at 60% infill. This is, I called the cone holder of obvious reasons. It's holding this, which looks like a cone. So this is a really sharp, holy shit, my hair looks terrible. I'm gonna look with that. This is a very sharp, it's a sharp electrode, that's the word. And that is used as my, I think it's the positive. So the electrons spray onto these. I don't know. Electrons, as you know, you might know, goes from the negative to the positive, and the current goes from the positive to the negative. It's a huge mess. But one electrode is a tube, and the other is spikes. So that should be ideal for like not producing sparks. But the thing is, these spikes here, I measured it incorrectly and put it at the wrong places. So it really is not great. Also, it's warped as fuck since it is actually PLA, but I think I was a bit too eager to remove it from the plate. So I'll just heat it up with a hot air gun, and then I'm just gonna put it on the table on like something flat. Of course, remembering to turn on the power. Maybe. What the fuck? What the fuck? It is on. Wait, what the fuck is going on? Oh crap. The fan in there just suddenly stopped working. But the heating element does work. That's scary. I'm not going to use this anymore. I'm probably going to tear it apart and find. I'm fairly certain it's just a brush. It is I think it's a brush DC motor. So there's I think it works like you're passing the AC through the heating element to drop it, and of course heat up the heating element, then into a bridge rectifier, and then into the motor. I suppose that's how I would do it. So it might also be how they did it, maybe. But let's go back to the heat set inserts thing. Also, fuck off, clamp. I really don't like these twisted. What are they called? Pliers? It's not plier. It's tweezers. Yeah. I really don't like twisted tweezers. Like bowed. But I guess that's the right thing to use for this job. Also, my fingers are very much not sensitive to heat anymore, so also to protect them from being even less sensitive to heat. Also, this is so much easier. Also, I want a fast Core XY 3D printer, so I think of building the Voron. The V0.2, the new one, came out here in December. I'm planning on using the LDR 0.2S1 kit. If I can afford it, I'll check on it later. But I might be able to afford it. So if I am, I'm probably going to do that. I would like to build the 2.4 R2 in the smallest size, or the Legacy, or the Trident. I can't remember. Okay, the Trident or the Legacy has the has linear rails, and the other has linear rods. I don't want to deal with linear rods because no, I think actually linear rods are way easier to deal with. But linear rails it is, because I want to build something with linear rails. I don't know why. It's hot. Also, just because it's like stiff motion and it's fast and everything like that. And I know that you can also build really fast printers using rods, as Bamboo Lab showed, but I just don't want to deal with. Also, the greasing and lubrication of linear rods is actually easier than the linear rails, but yeah. The problem with the rods is that they can rotate. So you're only supported in one direction, not the boy band, but you're only supported in X and Y and Z. You're not in any no, you're only supported in. It's a rod. You know what the fuck I mean. They can just turn, so that means that you have to have two linear rods on top of each other, or at this to the side, to actually make sure that they are not turning. The problem with that, especially on the x-axis, is one moment I'm just going to bring out the Celerix, because that uses linear rods and not even linear bearings, but linear bushings, which is even more horrible. Also, I ripped out the controller board to put it in my ender. So the motion system of my Celerix, my home built printer, is pretty stiff. It's actually really, really stiff. But the only direction it's not completely stiffened is the X direction. If you kind of apply some axial force, I think it's called. You try to rotate the X in this direction, it's really stiff, but in this direction there is a bit of slack, and I think it's I guess about 0.1 millimeters, and it might also be better with better quality bearings and better lubrication with proper lubricant and not just some machine oil. But I just did not want to deal with that because I am planning to go quite fast, and I'm planning for the Voron to be my ABS machine, of course, because I really do enjoy printing in ABS, since the high heat deflection temperatures and the high layer adhesion just means that I don't have to worry about the fuck PLA is doing. The only problem is that, of course, it warps like high hell, and it stinks, so that's why I want to build a Voron. Warps to high heavens, that's what it's called. Warps a lot, fuck you. So that's annoying to work with, but when it actually did work, it's good. Also, I don't really like heating up my printer, my ender, to ABS temps. Yeah, of course it can do it, and I have done it for quite a bit of time. And of course, when I upgraded to the all metal heat breaks and all metal shit, it works even better because you can print ABS on an ender, just not recommended. The problem is that you're also heating up the control board and you're heating up the power supply. And I'm actually more worried about the power supply than the control board, since you are using quite a lot of power from the supply. It is a proper meanwhile, I think. So that's good. But you're still heating up the supply to like 40 degrees, which it does not like that. The good thing is that the ender is pretty low current, right? Uses pretty low current steppers. So the 2209s I have in mind, my ender 3, it's a V2, so it comes stock with 2208s, which are pretty silent. But the 09s are just quite a lot better, I think. In my opinion, 2209s is great. What is that, like 2226 is the external fuck ton of current ones. Those are of course better, but when you're using some high current drivers like the 2209s for a low current stepper like the enders, you're not running into any issues. It's not going to overheat or anything. That's also why the ender can get away using no heatsink. So when I actually did go ahead and use another control board with an actual heatsink on it, I'm using the SKR Mini E3D3. Big Tree Tech, please sponsor me. That goes perfectly. I love that control board. The control board is great. The only thing I don't like with it is the lack of safety things for the USB and shit. It's fine once you install it properly, but if you're testing the board, I have once destroyed an SK Mini 3D3 by, it was kind of stupid, but yanking on the USB. I fell, actually hurt myself quite a bit, but I fell and yanked on the USB. So you could do that a bit better. I have seen better USB ports out there than what you decided to use, but on the other side, they do take up quite a bit more space. Also, I'd like to see some Polulu style drivers. I don't like the slotted in ones. But the control board is cheap. What are you going to do? I don't get how the 2209 one step stick 2209 thing is so goddamn expensive. It's like the only ones I've seen is like $7-8 per stick, and if you add all that up, it's going to be like 35. It's going to be $35, and for $35 you can get an entire board with the MCU and everything. So if you actually want to use these sticks that you just bought, then you have to go and buy another $35 board to use them. I don't get how you can do it so cheap using one driver, using slotted on drivers, and I don't know. I should probably research. Why can't I fucking speak? I should probably research a bit more before I just say some random shit. Yeah, I am just checking all of the if everything sits flush, this does not sit flush. Holy fuck. I'm not going to do that. That's the one thing I hate about PLA the most. I'm not even going to tell you, I'm going to show you. So, let's say that you have a little bit of elephant's foot. That edge, you can see it quite well there. It's supposed to be a straight edge, but you can see at the top, it kind of like bulges out. That's because the nozzle was too close, and I didn't know that it was too close. I did know that it was too close. But let's say you want to sand that off. If that was ABS, no problem, just sand it. But since this is PLA, when I try to sand it, it looks horrible. You can't, it turns white. It's a bit better with this huge ass sandpaper, but it sands horribly. You can do it, but you can't use fine sandpaper to smooth out surfaces and some stuff like that. That I'm using the top of the print. That looks good. Also a bit shiny, and then I'm sanding it a bit on some fine grit sandpaper. And now that looks totally rubbish, white. It's black filament, and now it looks white. Even if I trying to get the residue off, it's still everything that actually did get sanded. It's not totally straight, but everything that I actually sanded, it looks horrible. So that's the thing that makes me the most annoyed about using PLA filament. You can't sand it, so yeah, you have to tune in your printer much better. One good thing is that's actually another thing. It's very hard plastic, so that's good. Except that it makes it even more difficult to work with because I have a little bit of elephant's foot here. And even if I try to very slowly cut away some, it's still really difficult to do accurately. So it's just horrible to work with. It's easy on the printer, but everything else than printing it is hard. And that's completely the opposite of ABS. It's nice and soft, so it's easy to work with, and it is not as brittle as PLA is. PLA is extremely brittle, and it also has layer adhesion. PLA is pretty bad layer adhesion wise. But if you can live with all those flaws, PLA is great. If you can't live with those flaws, ABS is the way to go. Or PETG. I'd actually say go with PETG if you're pretty new to printing, because ABS is a fucking bitch to print. The print will stick great, and then you can't get it off. And then when you get it off, and you're trying to print the same object at the same place, at the same everything, it just won't stick at all. And then you finally get it to stick, and then you're never able to get it off again. ABS is just a bitch, and that I never talked about the warping. The ABS, if you want dimension, if you want something to be accurate, it ranges anywhere from 0.2% to 3% of your model. It shrinks, and good luck calculating that. I'm not able to calculate it, and I am pretty fucking great at math. So I haven't worked out a formula for it. It's about the size. So the smaller the print, the less you should care about shrinking. And also warping. If something is straight on your model, print in ABS, it's not straight anymore. If you're not printing it in a sealed and heated enclosure, you got to be at 45 degrees. And that's, again, if you're printing ABS on an ender, 45 degrees is not great for the electronics. So the CR10, I think, has an external electronics box. That would be an ideal candidate to enclose. So if you are planning on building a Voron or a Ratrig, or no, I think Ratrig actually supplies the prints, but if you're planning on building a Voron and you just want like a bed slinger to get the job done and to print some PLA now and then, and also as a second printer and all that sort of shit, go with a CR printer because of the external box, and don't ever fucking think of going with an ANET, even though a few of those have an external box. You could use an ANET, but just be in the same room with the ass of the printer at all fucking times, because you should never trust ANET printers. I think you might, even if you're not into 3D printing, ANET A8 burning houses down, you must have seen that. Also the Trunksy DO1, I think. Horrible extruder, but otherwise really solid printer. Also, lack of thermal runaway protection. So Max Muse made a great video about that. Also, a child about my age. No, a few years younger than me, but still, an actual kid died because he was sleeping at the same room as the printer, and it went up in smokes, and he died. So don't do Trunksies. At least if you're going to buy a Trunksy, test the thermal runaway protection. Don't buy ANET. Creality tend to be pretty good. At least the Creality printers I've tried are good. They are not very reliable though, so if you're ready to mod the printer, Creality all the way. If you're not able to mod the printer, if you want to print stuff because you want to print stuff and don't want to go tinker with the printer all the time, then go with a Prusa. I mean, I never had any problems with my stock Ender 3D2 actually. It was only because I wanted to print better, print faster. Then I started modding it, and I actually regret that quite a bit because the Ender 3D2 is a great printer. I enjoyed it. Your mileage may vary, but my Ender 3D2 experience was awesome. Great printer, printed quick enough. It's a slow printer. It's like 50 millimeters a second, which is horribly slow by today's standards. It is an old style printer, but so is the Mark III. Mark III, if you just want to print shit. Ender 3D2, if you can't afford a Mark III or a Mini, or if you want something a bit better than bit bigger than a Prusa Mini. Also, one thing, 3D printers, buy them small. A typical size of a print is, I'd say, 50, 30 millimeters. 50x, 50y, and then 30c. That would be able to do 80% of a standard hobbyist's work. So a Voron Zero, that is a 12 by 12 by 12 millimeter build area. No, 12 by 12 by 12 centimeter build area. 120 by 120 by 120, or 120 cubed. That is, I think that's the proper size. It is a small printer, and it's meant to be a small printer, but it is it's not too small. I think that could do 99% of my work. Would that size be able to do for me? So that's why I kind of chose the Zero. I also thought of going with the V Minion. I'm still actually still thinking about the V Minion a bit, but I just know the performance of the Voron, and I kind of trust the Voron team. I've spoken with them, and they they just seem like they know what they're talking about. Of course, they know what they're talking about. It's boron guys. A few things about the boron. As you've probably heard a million times, if you're kind of researching boron, they're not a company. No one's making money. So you've got to remember that. Ratrick is a company, so that's why I don't want to. I love the open source community, and I know Ratrick is also open source and everything, but I still think that I want to. If you build a boron, make sure to donate a bit to the boron guys. Don't need to donate much, and don't think of it as a donation to them. Think of it as a donation to you getting an upgrade for the printer. Because if they aren't designing it, you're not getting another version of the printer you build. So make sure to just donate a bit to those guys, because that goes directly into new equipment and new parts and shit. That's at least what I've heard from the guys. Oh, fun fact, Voron is Voron's name was MZ-Bot before it was called Voron, and that was because Voron was a company, but it's not anymore. And that is because the guy starting Voron, Mark something, I think, he did not have time. He didn't want to go through a hassle and actually run a company on the side of his normal job, which is completely understandable. Also, Voron, it's Russian. It means raven, I guess. That's what Voron, I think. Pronunciation in Russian is not easy for me, even though I am a few generations back. My granddad was from Poland, and I think his dad or his mom was from Russia. I don't know. I got Russian blood, but I don't know any Russian. I'm gonna go grab some more of the prints. The panels, and then we're gonna bring them down here, and then we're gonna slowly assemble the box itself. So, I did make a little mental instruction manual for myself, since it is a quite complicated little machine, like mechanically. Oh, I don't like the light. I'm getting overexposed from the windows. I do have some curtains, but they're outside. I can just go in. I don't know if they work anymore. Nope, that is completely bust. That does not work anymore. That works, however. It's not great though, but it does work. Yeah, that's a much better backdrop. Okay, that looks way better. How did that small change do such a big difference? It's still a bit underexposed, but I don't have like an exposure dial because it's a fucking laptop. I fucking hate this. Okay, so I am going to start assembling this. So I start with the front, which is called the back in Fusion. I think I am going to open source this design. I don't know. Give out the model because I should. I don't know. It just seems like the good thing to do. Just show people the actual model. So now the thing is, I can't remember. Oh my fucking god! So that does not work. This, yeah, that will do. Bit scan. I'm going to crack this very thin acrylic here, though. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. This is actually stainless hardware, which is completely overkill using stainless steel screws for a 3D printed design, but I just did not want them to rust, apparently. So that is gonna do. I can't remember what direction it's gonna go though. Oh my god, this is gonna take forever. Yeah. Now the problem is I can't remember if this is supposed to, because half of them are the acrylic panels supposed to hang from, and the other are they supposed to stand on top of. And my Fusion is not updated. Can I update Fusion? I have to update Fusion to look at the design. Oh crap, that was not the right swivel. At least, I mean, it does clamp on really tightly, and it's relatively easy to do compared to the old machine where I just tapped. That was M2.5 directly into plastic. Fusion Autodesk Fusion 360, and I'm using the free license, so I will have to. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Okay, so that's the thing about using stainless hardware. It just falls off my screws, even though my screwdriver is magnetic. What? Why? So the thing is that it is designed so half of my of the cubes are going to be are only going to be screwed in from the sides and not from the it's not actually going to get to support the top. This is acid layers. Okay, this is getting built as layers. So I have one layer for the logic board and also one layer for everything else. You can probably see it on the model. You're a big boy, don't have to do that much. So now the problem is, how am I going to do this? I know my graphics driver is not good enough to handle it. Fusion cannot open this version of Fusion. Saved in a newer version. Restart Fusion once the update's finishing. Oh my god. Can't I just look at the design? No? Why the fuck not? Yes, I know, but how the fuck do I... Okay, my god. This is hell. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I don't know that much about laser cutting, so I can't really say anything about the quality of the panels. But it seems really great. I put in a very small curve, but that seems pretty good. Okay, so update Fusion 360. Connect to the internet and launch. Right, job status. Top right. Fuck you. There's no. Okay, it's updating. It is actually updating. Great. So I can just screw things in while we wait Fusion to do its thing. I am installing these cubes in an alternating pattern. So I'm going 3 2 3 2 3 2 3 2. Since I don't want I want all of the layers, the levels in this to be installed properly, but I also, yeah, that's also a problem. No, I actually cannot do that. This is way more complicated than I thought it would be. I need to unscrew these. Fuck. That's something I didn't plan for. How do I screw in the one layer when the next layer is like directly on top of it? I can just screw it in from the side like that. That's a good thing about using hex instead of using these like fucking flathead or Phillips. Okay, if you want a tip from me, do not use flathead. Use Phillips if you can't use flathead and you don't have anything else in your area. But if possible, use Torx. And if not, use hex. If that's not, use Phillips. Also, hex is only use hex for low torque applications. Torx screws, like the one with the star shape, they're much higher torque and much harder to strip than Phillips screws are. Than hex screws are. Hex, if you just torque them in too hard, and then just say, and then it's game over for that screw, and you can't ever get it out if it's in something. So, Torx for the win. Hex if you can't use Torx, and only for low torque applications. And Phillips if you need higher torque, but you still want it to be pretty cheap, or you can't get the torque screws in your area. And of course, another tip: if you're taking electronics apart, remember to save every screw. Save every screw, because one day you'll stand in a situation where you are where you're fucked because you didn't save all your screws because you need a screw you don't have, and now you need to do a whole bunch of crap. Okay, so I have a mouse. I don't use, this is a crappy mouse, but I have a mouse. That's better than no mouse. So don't show the front. Show all my cubes. Don't show the center axis. I know this computer's graphics driver is crap. It's what is that? 1050 from 2014. I don't know when it's the 1050. The 1050 is old. It's pretty crappy. The thing is, it was pretty hard to design something to hold my to hold the electrodes, because I want it to be it needs to be a variable distance. Okay, so that needs to be pointing in the opposite direction. I literally fucked everything up. I fucked the first one up. So that needs to be like that. Then the second one is also hanging, so I fucked that one up too. Because when it's hanging, I of course can't use, I need to use the three-way thingies. Also, I might not be able, I might need to put some more threaded inserts in, but it's not that bad. It's only like 8 two ways. The fuck am I doing? Like that, yes. Okay, no. Like that, yeah, there we go. The next one is also hanging. I'm definitely going to need some more two-way. But the layout on top of that is standing, so I can use a. No, I need more three ways. I can use a two-way for this. And the top up there is using a two-way. The top is actually using 4 two-ways, so I might not be need to. I don't know. I'm gonna find out. No, that's a three-way. 3. That's a 2. And of course, the top is using a 3. Stainless hardware is great. Also, metric. Americans, for your own sake, I don't actually care. I'm not from America. I don't care what you do. But for your own sake, go metric. It's literally so much better than your imperial system. Also, you are metric. You're just doing a stupid little calculations to go from the metric system to the imperial system. You're literally already using the metric system. It wouldn't even, it would not need new hardware. Like the nerds would not need new hardware to figure shit out. They already have the metric hardware because you are metric. I'm an idiot. How? Ah, that way. That's how. Okay. So that's a two-way. That's a three-way, and then that's a three-way. Good, and that's a three-way. That's 2. There's 3. This is why is this so hard to do. The sad thing is I think I'm streaming to no one. So I'm doing all this work to not stream to anyone, which is literally sad. On this side, I'm going to use only 3 ways, since even the 2 ways, like everything still needs to get hold like tight so it does not fall off when the devices are moving, since I need to take this to the science fair, the competition, and that is a few kilometers away from where I live. Don't know what a kilometer is? Fuck you. You should use metric. A kilometer is about 0.8 miles, if I remember correctly, which I probably don't, since metric is weird. Also, my phone is in English, so you can actually understand it. What is 1 mile in kilometers?
1 mile is equal to 1.609 kilometers.
Oh, it is it's about 25 kilometers from here with the finals, and on Monday I need to go to the convention thing. That's about 50 kilometers, and then you can do your own thing. I'm not going to do it for you. You can ask Google yourself, or Google it, or actually do the calculation thing, but why should you, since you have Google, your own personal slave? Okay. Needs to go like that. Yeah. I should have definitely made it a bit easier for myself in the design of these cubes. Also because I needed to print a fuck ton of them, so like I should have just designed them a bit better, but I didn't. And now I get to pay the price. So now the cubes should be installed. So I am going to start installing the panels, those. I'm very happy I have the 3D model, because I should definitely have made a manual for myself. That is here. I think, is that standing or hanging? That's standing. Yes, that's here. What orientation? This I fucked up. I should have definitely made this a bit easier. Just give it a key. Like every side had a key. That would have made it so much easier to assemble. On the other side, it's like the assembly process is the least of my worries. Okay, so the 2 small ones in that orientation. Okay. So, and that has a screw one side. That's perfect. It's just so satisfying, like, especially to see my design, because I designed everything to kind of slot into each other so there wouldn't be any weird edges, because I'm using like flat stock, so it's laser cut, so I'm using acrylic panels, actually windows, plexiglass windows. Okay, I'm gonna do it like that, since I am right-handed. Left-handed people, I feel bad for you. Okay, so that is difficult to do. I do have my iFixit. I'm a huge iFixit fanboy. Please sponsor me. But the iFixit Protect toolkit. I mean, I use a few of the things pretty often. I mean, the Jimmy tool is really good, but I'm not fixing phones, so it's anymore. So the thing is, this here, I've never actually used it, so I don't know how well it works. I don't know if it's better to use this. It probably is, since this is actually what it's made for. But yeah, I can do that to do like fine tightening. Right now, I don't need to have it extremely tight. I should definitely not have been doing. No, never mind. I should have been doing that. That was a great idea. The top panel. The top panel is probably the best thing now. Where is the top panel? That is this clear acrylic one. I also have a few. I don't like it scratching against each other. Ooh, that does not look good. I do have some cleaning shit for glasses. Since the other machine. And acrylic, acrylic looks good, but it's horrible to work with. It also only looks good if you're cleaning it, and it also only looks good if you're not scratching it out of time. And my acrylic is sadly already a bit scratched. But again, no one's gonna actually look at that. So I don't really care that much. That seems like this is maybe a bit low. Either that or the cube is just hugely fucked up. That's also one thing, we didn't have enough acrylic. So there is one side where the whole thing is going to be skewed a little bit, and that is unfortunate, but that is just how the world is. And I don't have time to like redo all the cuts, all the panels, so that's how it is, and nobody's gonna actually see it. And if they see it, we're gonna say it's for airflow. So even though everything is designed with airflow in mind, yeah. Then gonna turn the whole thing upside down without putting load on the acrylic, since the acrylic is really brittle right now. I'm not using the acrylic as the thing that's giving me any strength. I am using the fat. Oh my god, what the fuck happened there? Oh no. What? That's hanging. Oh yeah. Why is that there? Because I'm an idiot and put that cube on wrong. Yeah, okay. I'm using the geometry of my stuff to keep it pretty good. And that is, I'm using like a square. So these acrylic panels in the middle are giving me all my rigidity, because that's also why some of them are screwed in all the way, because that makes sure that the outer ones are not flexing. So everything is like very tight, and it should have almost the same rigidity as a solid cube, which is really cool that you can actually get that much rigidity off so little material, since most of the material's rigidity are coming from the outside anyways. So it's of course not going to be perfect, but it is going to be pretty damn good. Okay, so view from top. That's that panel. I don't really put that on. Okay, I think, yep, this is the next panel. That goes in like this. never mind. It goes in like this, I guess. Yes. What way is this? Did it turn? It probably turned. Yeah, this is looking from the front. I'm looking from the back. That's what's going on. Okay. So, yes, okay, this makes more sense. So this is one of these situations where the plate is like, the panel is going to hang up a little bit. And that is actually very horrible. Mainly because it is going to be floating in midair. I really hate that this is going to float in midair. Okay, that does actually work as it should, even though it is floating. So I am glad I printed the cubes with a bit higher infill than I originally planned, since that does give me tons more strength. Since my rigidity is, I don't need that much strength from one cube. I was thinking of just doing it as the normal beauty pretty print settings, with like 10% infill and that shit. But I actually did decide on using a pretty high infill percentage. I think I used 45 and 4 shells with a 0.4. That's a quality thing though. I did use a 0.4 layer width instead of 0.6, even though I was using a 0.4 nozzle. And I could easily go with 0.6. I just didn't want to deal with that of using a getting the lower quality, because that is harming quality a little bit, even though it's not a lot. Okay, next thing, I'm going to put a few of the panels to the side since I don't need a bunch of them. I don't need anymore. No, I don't need yet. Since I mean, quite a few of the prints are meant to sit here, but I wanted to only like slightly sit there since I need to be able to remove this quickly. Also, yes, I calculated that actually. So, yes, but I did my math right. I didn't actually check that in CAD, so I'm glad I mathed that correctly. This, I think that is I want to call my logic board level. This is where, no, it's still this is the voltage multiplier level. In here, it's going to sit a voltage multiplier. It's very small, though. I don't really like how tiny these levels are. They looked bigger in CAD. But on the other side, on the other hand, I did measure everything before I started. So everything should still fit, and even if they don't, I will make them fit. I am very good at convincing. This looks. I mean, this is kind of the I'm assembling a piece of Lego feeling. I don't know, if you're not a maker, you won't understand this feeling, but I think if you are, you will totally know what I'm talking about. So you've been doing something for a long time, many hours, and you're just finally starting to assemble it, and you've been designing for a whole shit ton of time, and now everything's starting to come together. That feeling of, fuck, I'm almost done with this crap. Even if it's a project you enjoy tremendously, I think that feeling of shit, it's almost done. It's still like it's very satisfying. Oh, that's wrong. That cube there is upside down. How did I make so many mistakes? So this I actually designed correctly. This panel is the only one that I know that I'll be taking apart constantly, like changing things up constantly. The other ones, I will probably have to remove those, like maybe one or two times. This I know I'm going to remove. Also, why I haven't put this, like something here. But everything else I should be able to slot things in, so I should not be needed to remove anything from it. Also, I'm going to install a USB charger on the thing because I have a 3 amp. This supply, the ATX supply I'm using, has a 3 amp standby, 5-volt 3 amp standby supply, and it's I think I am gonna draw quite a bit from from that line, but I'm still a maximum of 1 amp drawing from that 5-volt line. Also, I'm going to feed the Arduino through the through the port. I mean the USB port. That is kind of a horrible way to do things, but it is. Sadly, the Arduino, I'm not going to feed it through the 5-volt 5-volt line thing, because the VN only takes from 7 volts and up, which is actually pretty horrible. I don't know why they did it like that. If you know, please tell me. So yeah. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install the top panels here. Holy crap! Yeah, that's nothing's flat. Nothing's working, but that is because of the misalignment in the laser. So that's terrible. Everything aside from that, however, that should be fine. So I have really enjoyed doing this project. Actually, it was very difficult, and oh crap! Shit! I'm scared of breaking something. One moment. Yeah. I really enjoyed doing this project, even though it was kind of a pain. Sometimes. Wait, why aren't there any holes in this side? I think there is a bit of a mistake. Why is that panel like totally no holes in that? What the fuck? It looks like none of the panels should have holes there. That's really weird. What the fuck is going on? Oh, I think I know what the fuck I did wrong. Maybe if I mounted the panel the other fucking way around. Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay. People might. Yeah. I've been streaming for an hour. I am live. Am I live? I am. And the video quality is horrible. But at least my audio is good. I'm just going to quote William Osman and say, it's okay. The big Willie. Coffee just, I love, yeah. Am I addicted to that black caffeine drink? Probably. Do I care? Definitely not. It tastes really great. Now the problem is that it's pretty difficult for me to figure out where everything needs to be mounted. Also, I haven't done any of the electronics for this project yet, so I am definitely going to do those tonight. Or I'm hopefully going to get done with the electronics today, because I do enjoy that part, but I just need to get it over with. I need to get it done. So this needs to be a two-way. That's a yes. The electronics are just like this is just so simple, and there is nothing designing. Also, I'm not actually really sure what I'm going to do to the electronics yet. I should definitely have thought that through. I was just like, yeah, I'm going to use a sensor, and I'll figure it out later. And then now it's later, and I have no clue what I'm doing. The electronics are. I just assembled a bunch of. Shut the fuck up, lamp. It's just a bunch of modules, basically. Also, I am needing to do something on just a breadboard. No, the whole board thing. Just slot in some connectors and a few MOSFETs and maybe a transistor or two. I think the most difficult part is going to be the LEDs, because I don't actually know what the LEDs specs are at all. I don't know how much current I'm going to be drawing. I could test it, but I still don't know how many LEDs I'm going to use. It's definitely going to be a rave, so many, but don't yet know how many I actually have. That works totally fine. So, yeah. I'm also in need of my logo to be somewhere. But I can get like a sticker made with my logo. I have a friend that is capable, I have the machinery to do that, so that is no problem. I can do that with like really quick turnaround. I can actually probably get that done tonight if I'm lucky. And she's in town. Okay. There's definitely a few things I'm not totally happy about with this design. Also, like I like the way that everything's like mounted with the screws and stuff, but it's really hard to screw in. So it's going to be pretty rigid and pretty good once everything is installed. But until then, it's a bit of a different ball game. So, also, I thought about using magnets on the plates, like I'm gonna have in here. but I just decided on magnets would be too complicated to use. So I mean, they're fine, but it would be pretty hard to get them to press fit in there, and I didn't want to use a bunch of glue and then slather super glue all over the place, and that, no. So I just decided on using gravity to fit it in, and that's also fine because the machine is not going to be used unless there is gravity, of course. I mean, it's not going to be used lying down. That's what I'm saying. So now the thing is, I have 3 cubes, and I can only see 2 places where I needs to put them. So I might have counted wrong, but that's also fine because I'm definitely gonna throw one away or something, so it's not gonna be an issue. That's 2-way one, that's a 2-way one, and that is a 3-way one. I need 2 3-ways, and okay, so I do need to install another one of those cubic cubes. I am lacking a bit of something to say, because I feel like it's going to get boring if I don't say anything. Okay, I don't actually give a shit if it's boring. There's no one watching. This is just me talking because I usually find mistakes when I'm saying mistakes. When I'm saying shit, I usually find out if I'm doing something wrong. The problem is, however, that as opposed to Nero or some of those like good streamers, when I'm saying good streamers, I say Nero. That's then you know what, that I'm not using, like I'm not watching Hassan, and I've actually never watched a lot. Dream stream. I don't even know if Dream streams. Probably. Oh, up there I am missing one. Okay. I've never watched a Dream stream, Hassan stream, Sapnap, Bloodwick. Who else is streaming? I don't know. Never watched a single one of those streams. But I've watched plenty of Nero streams. I've watched a few Modbot streams. I've watched yeah. I like building and modding things. That's literally my life at the moment. So now the problem is, the kind of interesting thing is, I've no clue how to screw in these the boxes, the cubes. I think I'm just gonna use patience and screams, and a lack of a knife, because I don't think there's any good way to do it. I just think it's screw it in from like an angle and just hope it's gonna go in at some point. I also need to check my email. I sent out a business email yesterday night, and I think he's got enough time to respond to it, because this is killing bacteria, and I tested with those like agar plates, and it's not a scientific test, and it's not nothing, and all that sort of shit. It's not anything useful and all that crap. I'm kind of nervous because one of these plates, like this one, this one is substantially larger than all of the others. So I might have, like, there's like these cuts, these extrude cuts, they're all the way through. I think maybe it's because this is screwed in wrong. This is lifted a bit at the bottom or something. I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm just gonna check my email. YouTube, I'm live. I know. Oh, he actually read it and texted me back. Okay. Email, read. Cool. Okay. I got an email back, and it was exactly what I hoped it was. So, great. I think I'm actually gonna need to call someone. Okay. I think. Bro, fucking god. Okay, I do have a ruler. Why the fuck am I using this? Ruler. An acrylic ruler. Yes. So this is definitely too high up. I don't know why though, because all the holes do line up pretty well. So from that side it looks good. So why is that? Is it the bottom one that's not lined up properly? It might be the bottom one. Yup, it's the bottom one. It's that one that's fucking me over. Okay, so I'm going to unscrew that a bit. Is that helping? I'm going to look from the top of the 3D model. Right now I'm looking at the front, so that's the way. I'm looking from above though, isn't it? Yeah, this is from above. Okay, so this is turned 180 degrees. Okay. So that's why it's a bit crooked. Like, I mean, a whole side is going to be a bit off, and I really hate that. But it is what it is. I am looking from the bottom up. Okay, so is that helping? No, it is not. Okay. What the fuck is going on? I am going to have the look from the bottom and have the front down. Oh yeah, that is totally much better. Okay, I found out what the problem was. It is because of that crooked edge thing. So it was lifted off a tiny bit in each of these each of the two corners, since the acrylic does not go all the way down, and that apparently made it a bit weird. And that is fine since they're all equal and there's still a bit of gap between them. But I don't think you can avoid that. I think now the thing to do is to just put that directly on top and then just start to screw in some screws. Still, that really does not make... I feel I'm going to break the acrylic. Acrylic is very fragile, as you probably know. Also, I'm leaving fingerprints all over the place, and I don't care. I know I'm doing it, and I don't care, since it's gonna get disgusting anyways. So either I can leave my fingerprints all over the place now, or I could and remove them later, or I could not leave my fingerprints on there now, leave them on there later, and then remove them later. So it really does not make sense. Also, I need to unscrew everything a little bit because the holes are a bit oversized, since I knew that it would not be 100% accurate because it's a 3D printer. It's not anything fancy. Actually, I wonder what a Stratasys machine can do of clearances. If anyone has access to a Stratasys machine, please print out a one of those clearance gauges, just standard settings, just to see what it is actually capable of doing. Since Stratasys machines are incredibly expensive, I would love to see if that could do like zero clearance things. Why am I'm such an idiot? Unscrew. There, yes. So I'm in contact with a company. I'm not going to say the name, since I don't know if they want to admit that they're working with me, or want to work with me. But they are pretty busy at the moment, so they might not be able to do my project. So the only thing I can do is just hope. But I can call them Tuesday, 12:30. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll call Philip, as my contact's called. And then I'm just going to chat to him about this shit. Also, he's like a microbiologist. I'm a 14-year-old nerd. So, yeah. I'm fairly certain that I'm not going to be able to understand a word he's saying. But I'll do my best to understand you, Philip. So if I'm not responding to what they're saying, it's not because I don't want to, it's because I'm literally incapable of understanding your clever man words. You could say something about electronics. I'm good at that. High voltage, I'm good at that. 3D printers, good at that. Machining, not great at it, but I understand the terms. And some of the terms. But biology? Yeah, mate, nah. That I'm physically incapable of braining. So yes, I'm just gonna tell him that I think it's very interesting, microbiology. But I'm more of the kind of guy who kills the microbiology with high voltage, not the guy who actually studies it. Now, it is, I guess he might be able to poke my interest, and I'm going to be totally open for a complete career change. I don't think it's going to happen, since I am already really happy with what I'm with my plans. So the thing about this machine is I'm doing a parallelogram, and if you know anything about like shapes and modeling and stuff like that, you would know that a parallelogram is the most horrible way of designing a machine you can possibly do it. And I am making a parallelogram. I hate that word. I'm doing it like that because this I think this top is put on wrong. I'm gonna take it off. Yeah. The thing about it is that this way it is incredibly wobbly. I'm putting no force on it at all, and this is not holding. The thing is, though, that in the other direction it is incredibly rigid, and that is the power of shapes. That you can just look at a piece of acrylic, and if you bend a plate like this in this direction, you can easily bend it, but in the other direction, it is incredibly difficult. But since that there is nothing, like it's only this part, it's still going to be able to flex since it's only being pulled together by these plates. So that's why I'm screwing them in as much as I'm doing, since if these plates are giving the rigidity in that torsion direction, this is giving me the direction the X rigidity. Then the other plates like that is going to give me the Y rigidity. I don't. It's not the technical terms, and I'm probably saying like a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo, but it worked for me before, and it's going to work for me this time. I can already tell that this machine is going to be not extremely rigid because it's 3D printed plastic and acrylic, but it is going to be way better than it needs to be. Also, this looks really good. That is bending down. So that must be that direction. So I'm going to turn it like this, maybe. Still bending down. But why? But why is it bending down? I know it's bending. Why is that? What the fuck? Oh, I think I might know the issue. No, forget it. I don't know the issue. Is it because I turned it the other way around? What is going on? It simply looks too small. But the plate is exactly the same size as all the others. But in reality, it is not. It is not a tiny bit small. It is exactly the same. So, oh no, it's about the same. I'm sorry. It's the like. Don't ever say the word exactly about designing machines, because like E3D, a very respected nozzle, like 3D printing manufacturer, said that their nozzles were exactly the same. They got publicly shamed for it, and that is simply because the real world that we live in, or the simulation we live in, I don't fucking know. Nothing is exactly nothing. So this is about the right height, even if it's 0.000000000 and a bunch of zeros millimeter off. It's still not exactly right. It's still about right. And that is like the constant battle that we're living in. Everything is about right. But the the problem is that sometimes the about right is a bit too off. And when it's a bit too off, then we're having issues with the things as like things don't fit together well. And that is the reason I didn't want to go with like those finger joints, since also I'm not qualified to do this crap. So I went with these boxes mainly because finger joints, if you're a quarter millimeter off of those, you're not going to get your parts to fit together. These kind of joints, if I'm a quarter millimeter off, it's like a bit nah. But the screw is just a bit more off than I'd like it to be, and that's just it. There's no consequence to it. That is close to so this is going to go in this direction, in this way. So yes, I just love how I'm just putting things together and talking at the same time, and no one's listening. Yeah, nah. Well, it's just how it is. Also, I should probably go eat lunch, since I have not eaten anything since 7 this morning, and now it's, I don't know, 12:40, 12:30. Oh, that's also a thing. Like when you're building something, make sure to not tighten the screws until it's really time to tighten the screws. Because then if something's off, and I assure you something is going to be off, then you're not as fucked, because then everything can like kind of settle in before you tighten the screws. Because when these screws are tight, and then there's a bunch of stress in your, especially acrylic. If that stress is like a tiny bit too much, it's gonna say, and then your project's gone. This is also drooping quite a bit down the acrylic. Also, this is not very great, and there's a bit of gap there, and that is mainly because I tightened a few too many screws a little bit too tight, and didn't get it any chance to settle down. Okay, so this is extremely rigid already, and I have not even screwed in. Okay, I'm saying extremely rigid. The only thing that moves is the bottom things there, and that is that I can't get that better, I think. So the machine itself up here is pretty good. It's only the bottom that is problematic. But the thing is, it looks great. Also, it looks exactly like. I think that's pretty cool. You can just see how this looks more and more like the thumbnail of this video, which of course was a pretty terrible render of the machine. And also, the more bolts are tightened, the better it gets. I think that's pretty cool to see. Also, I think my printer is done. So yeah, that was one of the hardest things to design. That was the moving action in here, because I can't have this rigidly mounted, because humidity and a bunch of other factors are going to factor in how much distance it needs to be from the comb. So I just had a bunch of leeway. So that also means that I can literally change the power supply to be twice as powerful and still not run into internal arcing, which would be bad. So I think I'm going to add a fuse to it, so if it just starts to arc, the fuse is going to blow. It's not going to be like a fuse I'm using for anything else though. Like it's not going to be a fuse that's possible for me to use for anything else. It's going to be a microwave oven fuse, since I have 5 lying around. Also, word of warning: don't take apart a microwave. Okay, just don't. It's dangerous. There's no reason for you to do it if you don't really need the parts. I needed the parts, so that's why I did it. Also, this just allowed me to turn the bolts like a bunch more. So, also reason to loosen the bolts. I am going to put the last panel on, even though I know I am going to have to take it off again. That's why I'm using the threaded inserts. I can modify things to whole hell and still not run into my bolts dripping and that stuff. No, the plastic stripping. The bolts I'm not worried about damaging because it's stainless bolts. Also really overkill. But also that you want in a prototype, at least in a prototype, you want everything to be really overkill, because also this size of this machine, I could do it if I had maybe 3 months more and twice as large budget. I could make this half size. But for 1, I don't have that kind of budget. 2, I don't have that kind of time. And 3, there is no reason for it to be half size. It's much easier for me to just design the CBS driver, or just not even design it. I designed it 3 years ago, maybe. I built it and I just tested it a few weeks ago, and it works beautifully. No, 1 week ago, and it works beautifully. So there's no reason for me to make another CBS driver, even though the one I have is, for 1, not great, and secondly, I don't know about thermal management on it. I do have a bunch of thermal management products, so it doesn't really matter. I can just chuck in another heatsink. It is a pretty efficient one though, so it shouldn't be needed. Hopefully it is not needed, because I really don't want to. Okay, now I'm running into problems again. The holes don't line up. But the thing is, I know that the holes are very capable of lining up. But against my own advice, I tightened up bolts. There, I just saw it move like 3 millimeters, and now it goes in perfectly. That's one thing. Oh, and I tightened that bolt as well. It's hard not to tighten bolts. Also, I'm really sad I didn't have like an electric screwdriver, because this is already starting to hurt my hand a little bit. I know I'm way too young to get my hands to hurt like that, but it's just cramping to holes. These screwdrivers, the iFixit screwdriver is great to do like work, but it is not really ergonomic at all. At least when you want to like do precision work. It's probably better when you just want to like torque things in, or it is better, but I just need to turn it a little bit, and then my hands. Also, that's one bad thing about threaded inserts. They are so easy to turn in that I can't use a ratcheting screwdriver. If I could, I could use my whole arm to turn it in. But at least it's also pretty good, because this takes up a lot less space than a ratcheting screwdriver. So I have no clue if you can actually see anything. You can, but not the whole machine, because it's huge. I actually hoped it wouldn't be as large as the original, since the original was a bit too large. But also, I could make this half size. At least, like, the whole bottom compartment is almost not filled. None of these compartments are going to be filled to the brim. I could put my electronics where the fan is, but it's just a bit easier for me to not do that. So that's why I am not doing that. Okay, now I'm going to loosen up every single screw, make sure every screw is loose. I can't do that inside the machine at this point, but oh, I can just see the machine. That's pretty fun. I can just see the machine like bowing down since like they were tightened and there were some stresses in the acrylic, and I want to relieve all that. Even if it looks like it's perfect, one screw, then in the other side that screw can still secure something over there. So everything is kind of related when you're building a project like this. And you see everything just clicking and it lining up way better, even though it's. I was like reflecting about how rigid it is. It is really rigid, but not when every screw's loose. But the whole point was also reducing the rigidity by untightening all the screws. And, oh, that was a huge click. It wasn't harming the acrylic. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't harming the acrylic. It's just the dimension. The machine looks is not going to be as great if all the bolts are tightened wrong. So now I should go in and tighten them all a little bit and then tighten them some more. But I'm just going to, I don't have that much time. I'm just going to tighten them all the way in. Not over tighten, of course, because I'm not dumb. I am, but not that dumb. So the thing is, I'm going with kind of a PC case approach to cooling, but instead of having positive pressure in not cooling, PC case approach to the ozone, to the airflow for the ozone. Yes, I'm really not happy with the top panel. Oh, that was not loose at all, and that was really important to loosen up. Okay, so I am going with a push-pull configuration. So I have a much weaker Arctic PC fan at the bottom, blowing up through the like the ozone grid with the coronal discharge, the plasma thing, and then at the top, I'm having a much more powerful sun-on fan, and all that I need a relay for. I have a relay module, so that's what I'm going to use. That's also like it's so much easier because I know the relay module will work beautifully, so I don't need to design a relay module. A relay is not hard to design. So I could probably wing it first try, like a relay module. But it's still like, if I break something, it'll take 3 weeks for it to get in. So why not just use a relay module that is already good, like working? And it's the same approach for the IR sensor that senses the hand. When the hands come into this, like that hole, that would be pretty easy for me to do. I wouldn't do the IR brake sensor with like reflection sensing. I would do a laser brake sensor because that is easier. Okay, and I could probably do that in like 2 tries, but still, if I break something, 3 weeks for it to get in. I don't have that much time. Okay, great. Now this machine is really, really rigid, not going anywhere. So now I can kind of just fit in some parts and just see if everything works as intended. So this goes in and it sits pretty snug against the acrylic. It's meant for these to be pulled a bit apart and hold in tight, so that works perfectly. This, though, that hole fitment doesn't really work, as I said before. So I'll probably redesign that later. And also, this is way too small anyway, so I am, definitely going to redesign that a little bit. What else do we have? I have my my bracket for the mounting of the power supply. That fits at the bottom from the back. This is actually the front for me, but because I'm standing behind the machine. And those holes work perfectly. That hole placement works perfectly. Now the plates. I have a mirror one. I have two black ones. I have a clear one. And the reason I have so many is that it's meant to be like a swap-in, a quick swap-in. So, this sucks. Meant to be, wait, what the fuck? This is annoying. I think this lower one here is installed wrong. Either that or these whole panels are installed wrong. So that's really annoying because this is key like all the way around. Oh, god damn it. The thing is that this is meant to this looks like it's meant to go in like that because that hole, it's meant to go in all the way. But the thing is, this should be mirrored. I don't know if the software mirrored it. The laser software, I can check the other ones. Oh, that is horrible to get out. Crap, that's not a great design. Yeah, it's good. It's good. No need to redo anything. So, I mean, the thing is, in here, that's where the it is definitely done wrong. Because over here, that is meant to be turned 180 degrees. So I'll have to disassemble a whole bunch of crap since this is meant to be flipped 180 degrees, not like be done totally, but flipped. And that means that like this is done correctly. This is good. So for that, the airflow is going to come in through there, and the sun-on fan is going to sit up here, and then this is going to sit here. So when I stick it in my hand, it's going to notice me from all the way over here, and it's going to turn on. Then I put in my hand, or I put in my screwdriver thingy, and that just does something. So that's the thing. The other one only works with coins, not keys, and hands, since it needs to be conductive. And I don't recommend using keys because if you remove it from, it's like it transmits energy. It transmits energy wirelessly to the hand. So it's really not great. It like transmits to the keys. So the keys is like at 5 kilovolts. And keys at 5 kilovolts, you don't want to touch those because it's AC, so it will easily just go to your hand. And I don't want that to happen. So yeah. But anyways, if we don't look at that, this works great. I think I'm going to install a powerful magnet in each one of these, like at the other side in here, so I can just move it with a magnet, like here, so I can lift it up, because these holes are not these key looking holes. That is for the sensors to poke through. I think I did it upside, like I did it mirrored, and I did that because the CAD model was flipped. You were probably screaming at me the whole time. God damn it. Well, I could cry over a waste of time. I can just get it done. I'm choosing to just get it done. Can I actually turn this? Do we need to? I need to pull out a side panel. Probably also the greatest idea, the fastest thing to do. Just taking off this side panel. Okay, that's the thing. if everything is like stress relieved once, it shouldn't ever be have to done again, since the only thing that is not stress relieved would be the new thing I put on something. Right. I'm not putting anything new on. If I'm only putting one side panel on, that would stress relieve it as I'm putting it on, since like every screw is not tight. So if everything else is done, shouldn't be needed to do it again, which is nice. That's why I'm so hungry. Is it 1 or is it 2? It's 1. Okay. 1 o'clock here. Been doing this for 2 hours, a bit more than 2 hours, assembling this crap. That took longer than I hoped, but everything does. So again, don't cry over wasted time, because it's just wasted time to cry over wasted time. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end the stream here, because I am starting to get so hungry that I am making bad decisions, and it just seems like building a device where high voltage is very close to hands. Yeah, I need to be a bit clear on the head to do that. I need to clear my head. So I can't even remember what way I was supposed to flip it. It was that way, wasn't it? No. Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. No, it was. Oh yeah, it was. I'm an idiot. Like that. That is perfect. So now I'll just have to screw in all this crap again. Oh shit. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go eat right after I'm done, like putting all these things together, like turning the panels. I like this design a lot more than I like the old one, like visually. But I think the functionality of this one is not going to be as great. I think it is mainly going to be for objects and not for hands. But there is the sensors, so it does turn on when I place the object in there. But I'm going to use my good old nose to figure out if it's good enough. Crap. I think I'm going to have to... Yeah, definitely. Can't. So there's 4 screws in each. It's going to take forever. I would love one of those magic screwdrivers things. If anyone want to sponsor one of those, at me, please. Please. I need a bunch of shit, and I'm a poor student, so... Oh my fucking god. And I don't have money for it, so... Also, I'm bleeding from everywhere, because doing things and having a workshop is not safe. And I am trying to... Oh, that's the right way. I'm trying to manage the risks as well as I can, but it just is not possible to manage it well enough to not get hurt in any way. We have an expression. I don't know. I think it's an expression. It's called like one of those metaphor-y things that you say. Yeah. In Denmark, we say "hvor der handles, der spildes," which translates to when you're doing something, you're going to waste something. And that sounds kind of hand-wavy and annoying. but it is true. Every time you're going to do something, you're going to 3D print, you're going to have waste. You're going to make something like that, you're going to waste time, waste electricity, waste anything. So, yeah. Yes. Or waste blood. Or you're doing something, you're going to bleed if you're doing something stupid. Unfortunately, stupid is most of the things I'm doing, so. That is key in that orientation in it? No, it's not. That orientation in it? No, it is not. Fuck, it's not even. Oh. So, yeah, what this. Oh, yeah, that's the way it's keyed. Oh, that makes sense. I should really either have made these easier to put in, made less panels, or just like kind of stamp them. I couldn't figure out how to engrave things on the laser though, like using the laser to engrave stuff. Couldn't figure it out, so I would have liked to have like an L. Couldn't figure that out. Also, in the old machine, I had like a sign displaying my logo, so I will definitely have something displaying my logo. Probably just the window with like a huge sticker on it. Oh, this is like, can I use the drivery thingy? Affixed shelling stuff. No. Yes. No. There it is. Why didn't they put a magnet in here? I don't understand why they didn't put a magnet. I mean, it looks. Screw is turning. It works. Problem is, I don't know if I can put the screw back in. I think it would be easier to just use the bit itself and then just do it out with my hand. No, it's not out. Oh, this is fucking annoying. So that should be the right thing. Yes, definitely. Probably. So the thing is, it is keyed. It is keyed so I can have wires running to the top, since I need at least to power this fan up here. But also I need to I just remembered that fan uses 240 volts, so I will have to either tap into this supply, have a cable that splits up the ATX thing, like splits the IEC port up, the IC connector, or I think I'm just gonna unscrew the things, the supply, open the supply up, and then just tap in. That's gonna be the easiest. It's just also going to be the most dangerous thing, and I think I value safety. It is going to be totally rated cable though, so it's going to be fine. Yeah, I'm going to have both like wires running up for the fan, the sun on, but also for LEDs. I need LEDs everywhere. It's going to shine bright. 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 I was gonna make like a shine bright like a diamond Rihanna reference thing, but then I remembered that it wasn't 2017 anymore. So yeah, I didn't do that. The thing is that I need some wires to go up here. This is for the fan, and I need some wires to go there, and some wires that's like on the other side. The holes that are there, that's for the high voltage lines. Can obviously not guide those close to low voltage lines because sap dead thing. So I'm gonna end the stream now. Goodbye, no one. And